In today's video, we're going to be making the Jewelia Quilted Kimono, which is one of my patterns. And if you don't know me, my name is Amelia, and I'm the owner of DarleneAgnes Patterns and DarleneAgnes Co. This video is long overdue, so I'm going to show you how to quilt it yourself, and then we're going to put it together. So if you're going to use a already quilted blanket, like a thrifted quilt or just a blanket, then you can look at the timestamps down below and skip to the portion of just putting it together. I'm super excited for this video, so let's jump into what we need for this project. The first thing you're going to need is some quilting fabric. I chose 2 Kona cottons in chocolate and ultra white with a pattern on it. A quilting square or square ruler, a longer ruler or anything with a flat edge, some bias tape, some very sharp scissors, some fabric chalk, some bobbins. Make sure you have a lot of these because it's so annoying when they run out. Some batting, mine is 100% cotton and very thin, as well as your pattern, which I will have linked down below. Now let's jump into our home printer paper pattern assembly. On your first page, you will see a 2-inch measuring square. Print this first and measure it out to make sure the pattern is printed right, as well as the size guide for the lines that you're going to cut, and then an image to show you how the paper pattern will be set up. Throughout this pattern, I will be providing diagrams in the left-hand corner that you can pause on. You're going to start by taking the first row of pages, which is 1, 2, 3, and 4, and of pages 2, 3, and 4, you're going to fold the left edge. Then you're going to take some tape, and you're going to tape that left edge to the paper that is in front of it. So 2 to 1, 3 to 2, and 4 to 3. As you tape, line up the black triangles to make a square. Make sure you're also taping in the areas that you're going to cut, so tape on the lines and make sure everything is secure. Now we're going to move on to the next row. You're going to take pages 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and you're going to cut off the top line. Once you have finished, you're going to fold the left edge of page 6, 7, 8, and 9. We're going to attach these a little bit differently. Page 5, the above page above it is the title page, which we do not need to attach it to. So we're going to attach page 6 to page 5 first, and we're going to tape that together. So tape the 2 black triangles to produce a square. And then we're going to take page 6 and we're going to tape it onto page 1. So do the same thing, the 2 black triangles make a square, make sure all the lines are even, and tape it down. Then we're going to move page 7 to page 2, and we're going to tape the sides, corner, and top, and then we're going to do the same with 8, and we're going to do the same with 9 as well. Once you're done taping the last page, you're going to jump to the next row and repeat the same steps as we did in row 2 for all of the rest of the pattern all the way down. After you finish, this is what it's going to look like, and now we're going to go back to the title page and figure out what line we need to cut out that is for our specific size. I will be cutting out the size small, and I'm 5'3" with broad shoulders, so you can see what that looks like if you are the same size as me by looking at the end of this video. Once you have all your pieces cut out, you're going to have to pick which pocket you want to use, and I'll be using the smaller pocket for this video. Cutting out your batting. We're going to start by cutting out our batting, and if you have a already made quilt, you just have to follow these steps and then jump into the sewing portion so you can look in the timestamps and skip to the sewing after this is cut out. Start by folding your batting and cutting all of the pieces out, and when it says on the fold, it's going to look like this, so you're going to fold your fabric over and cut that piece on the fold. Try to be as precise as possible. I've found when quilting your own jacket, sometimes the size can be off as we cut too much or we cut too little, or when we're putting it together, the pieces kind of created extra room. But once you're done cutting everything out, you should have a back and front body piece, 2 sleeves, and 2 pockets. Now we're going to quilt our outer fabric. Take your yard of fabric and keep it folded in half. You're then going to take your quilting square and you're going to go all the way across, or you can take your longer ruler and go all the way across as well. We're then going to cut strips of our white fabric out until we have as many as we need to create our panels. You're also going to do this with your brown fabric as well. So as you saw in the video in the beginning, I'm going to be making a checkered pattern. If you don't want to do a checkered pattern, you can do whatever quilt you want to do. But in order to do this, we're going to take 1 piece of white and 1 piece of brown, and we're going to place them right sides together and sew a straight line down one side. We're then going to alternate the colors, so we're going to do brown on white again until we have a panel that looks like this. Keep going until your panel is big enough to fit your batting size. After that, you're going to press the seams open to have a clean finish on the outer side of it. In order to press your fabric, you're going to open the seam like this and just put your iron down the entire thing. It is important that you start with one color when you're sewing these lines together and end with your opposite color. This will help you in the quilting process for making these nice squares. Then we're going to even the bottom out to have a straight edge, and we're going to take our quilting square and do the same thing we did in the beginning and make long strips out of this fabric we just created. Once your strips are all cut out, we're going to flip one so that it has a checkered pattern look. So it'll look like this. We're then going to put them right sides together and sew a straight line down one end. Make sure you're lining up the edges so that your squares are in between each other and look very clean. After you have sewed all of them together, that'll look like this, and just make sure you're making a panel big enough for your batting so that it'll be the appropriate size. Once you're done with that, you're going to iron these lines out again so that you have a clean look like this. You're then going to fold your panel in half, put your batting on it, and cut out your fabric again so that it's matching the size. This will then be your outer fabric lining. Once you're done cutting out all of your outer lining, you're going to then cut out inner lining, and I just chose my brown Kona cotton. I took my batting pieces and I cut out an inner lining for each one of them. Once you're done cutting everything out, you should have 18 pieces in total, 6 outer linings, 6 inner linings, and 6 batting pieces. Jumping right into putting them together, we're going to sandwich the batting in between the outer lining and inner lining pieces. Make sure the outer lining and inner lining pieces are right sides facing out. We are then going to sew straight stitches down the entire thing to quilt the material together. And this is what that will look like. I just picked a line and then I went down it with my sewing machine. Once you're done, you'll have your 6 pieces, your 2 sleeves, your front piece, your back piece, and your 2 pockets. Once you are done quilting everything together, take your paper pattern and put it back on top, making sure that everything is the exact size, and if it is not, cut away any excess fabric. Now we're going to be attaching the front and back body piece. This is where all the people will jump in if you had a pre-made quilt in the beginning. We are going to take the back and front piece and put them right sides together and line up the neck like this. It is going to be kind of awkward as you pin this down. I would only pin it down in certain sections and then use your fingers to line up and slowly go through your machine. We're going to zigzag stitch the edge or serge the edge, and then we're going to sew a straight stitch right next to it, attaching the bias tape to the edges of our quilted kimono. So I'm going to do my best, but there's probably better videos out there for attaching bias tape. But what we're going to do is we're going to look on our pattern and we're going to see where the notches are for where we end the bias tape on the front panel and the back panel. So this one goes all the way around and ends like right about there, as well as on the other side. We are going to start on one side and we're going to wrap it all the way around. So take your bias tape that you made or your pre-made bias tape, and we're going to open it up and use one side on the inner lining. So place your right sides of your bias tape to the wrong sides of your quilted kimono. You're going to then pin it like this and do a straight stitch in the middle of this already creased line from where the iron was. When going around the corner, leave room and don't pin it. So you're going to just kind of arch it as you sew, and it'll give it that really clean, non-pulled corner look. Once the first side of the bias tape is secure, we're then going to fold it over to the other side and iron it down. We're then going to take a straight stitch and stitch along the edge of the bias tape right next to the quilted outer piece. Once that is complete, you'll have secured bias tape on the front of your jacket. Repeat this step on the back body as well as ends of your sleeves and around the pockets. Attaching your sleeves. Okay, so I hope this doesn't get confusing, but I totally messed up. My head was in most of the shots of the video of the other one, so I had to make a whole new one to show you how to put the sleeves on. Start by taking your back and front body piece, which only the neck is sewn together, not the sides, and place it right sides up. Then take your sleeve and place it right sides down along the curved edge of both sides, the curved edge of the sleeve and the curved edge of your armhole. It is going to look a little weird as they don't line up, but you're going to pull the sleeve around and pin it down. I wouldn't pin it down too much as a quilt does get a little stretchy and you might have some bunched areas as you're sewing, so you want to pull the quilt along the edge as you sew it down. You're going to sew with a straight stitch and a zigzag stitch
I would recommend doing the zigzag stitch along the edge first, and then the straight stitch right next to the zigzag stitch as your stabilizing stitch. This is what it will look like when you're done. It'll have a clean edge with no slipping of the fabric, and the zigzag stitch and straight stitch keep it nice and in place. After both sleeves are secure, we're going to flip our jacket wrong sides out, and we're going to sew the sides down. Remember that the bottom sides do have a little bit of binding around that we're not going to be sewing. This is what that looks like, so make sure you stop at that point where those curves start, and sew from there all the way to the end of the sleeve. So this little L shape right here will have a zigzag stitch and a straight stitch on it. Attaching the pockets. So the pattern does have a spot specifically for where the pockets need to go, but you can pick wherever you want your pocket to go. Just remember that this part does curve over, so don't put it too far in the middle so that that can fold over nicely and not have a crease in your pocket. Once you have found the spot that you want it to be, pin your pocket down, and then we're going to sew a straight stitch along the curved edge of the pocket, not the top part. And this was the final step, so once you're done, you have a cute quilted kimono to wear in all seasons. Just layer it the proper way and it'll work all year round. If you stumbled upon this video and you do not have the Jewelia Quilted Kimono pattern, I will have it linked down below if you would like to make it, as well as if you DM me on Etsy, I will give you a discount if you tell me you've watched this video. I hope you enjoyed making the Jewelia Quilted Kimono. Please like, share, and follow to see what's next.